Does that make sense? My kids are playing with Legos like one room away, and I can hear the sound of the Legos, and it's really like, I've had too much caffeine today. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel after a brief break. Thank you for sticking around while I took a minute to rest after the holidays. If you are new here, my name is Abby. I am a homeschool mama of 4 kids under 10 currently. For about another month, they are all under 10. And today I am doing a collaboration with Julie from Stars of Jewels. We are giving you a peek at where we are halfway through our school year. So I don't know about her video, but I know, at least with mine, hopefully it will encourage you guys that maybe you're further along than somebody is this school year, because I can guarantee you we are not where I hoped to be, but that's pretty normal, and I know not to have many expectations anymore going into a school year. So my kids are 4th grade, 2nd grade, kind of like right in between preschool and kindergarten, which, you know, homeschool mamas, you understand what I'm saying. Technically he's in preschool, but he's kind of ready for some kindergarten work, so we're kind of in between, and I have an almost 2-year-old. So Julie also has some kids right around those ages, so if you guys are in the same boat as us, make sure you hop on over to her channel and check out where they're at in the middle of their school year. As you guys know, no 2 homes are the same, and I think that the more we chat about these things, the less pressure there is for all of us who are in our homes, kind of trying to find our footing and wondering if anybody else is feeling the way that we're feeling. So I'm gonna get started. So this year was a new year for us, as far as we decided to ditch the Sabbath schooling method, which we love and still love, and I see us maybe at some point going back to that when the kids are a little bit older, and we switched to year-round. My husband had a new work schedule this year, and I kind of had different expectations, and we're kind of in an awkward season this year with our kids. Up until this year, I felt that my 2 school-age kids could be mostly homeschooled together with only math and reading separately, maybe, you know, handwriting and things. And my 3rd child, my 2nd son, he has actually kind of stuck around with us most of the time, and he listens to everything I read, and he's one of those anomalies who can just sit still for long periods of time. So he's kind of hung around our school a lot too, and kind of gotten some questions right here and there. He's participated in things with us, but I haven't been officially homeschooling him or expecting a lot, you know what I'm saying? And then this year, I started to notice that the age difference was kind of starting to, my kids were kind of starting to separate as far as their interests and their abilities, and where now he's just turned 5, my 5-year-old definitely wants to be doing his own schoolwork. My 2nd grader is still kind of right in between where he should be, kind of between the older and the younger students. And then my 4th grader, she's really kind of getting to this point now where she's taking off, as it should be, you know, around this age. She's definitely hit that point where I see very defined interests and learning styles and things. And I see the need to tailor things a little differently for her, and not just kind of pull her back, or if I was doing group work consistently with her, I would be holding her back. Does that make sense? So she has kind of broken off into a little bit more of an individual setting, which has been great. There hasn't been that much that we're not doing together still, if that even makes sense. But I have had to work a little bit more individually with her and assign her different things and expect some higher level things from her. And so I wasn't sure how, I knew that was gonna be a little bit of extra work on my end this school year. So it's just kind of like a finding our footing year. And I knew that going into it, so I wanted to switch to year-round, and that is where we are at. So I wasn't sure how that was gonna work out, but so far it has been so good. All of my kids really this year too have started to show just some disjointed interests, I guess, where they used to all be super into the same things. Even my boys are no longer into the same things. So whereas last year I did an owl moon unit study and everybody like loved it, this year there would be 2 kids who were super into it and 1 kid who was certainly not into it, and then a toddler running amok as well. So we're kind of all over the place, as well as extracurriculars. My older 2 are in violin, both my boys are in sports, my daughter's in a dance company, and so this year the schedule for that didn't really fall into an easy place like it usually does. Last year and the year prior, I was kind of able to get all their things either on Tuesdays and Thursdays or Mondays and Wednesdays. This year we're like a Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, like awkward, I like symmetric symmetry in our schedule, like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Tuesday, Thursday, and that didn't happen this year. So going year round was something I've been interested in, but also kind of like survival mode, because I wanted to take the guilt off of the days that we just couldn't do school, and that has been amazing. I wasn't sure for my personality. I'm definitely a very rigid personality, like as far as schedule and structure goes, and I thought that the flexibility that came with a year-round schedule was way out of my comfort zone, but it actually has been so good in the sense that the only thing it has taken is that sense of guilt when we don't do school. Other than that, I've been super cool with it. It's been really enjoyable, and it's allowed me to enjoy to kind of be more present. Even I think about being at dance class with my daughter, a lot of times I'd be sitting there and planning, and now I'm watching because I don't feel the pressure of the end date. And I will say, well, I'll say that later on in the video. So curriculum-wise, which I'm sure is what you're most interested in, if you want to know where we are at curriculum-wise. For math, we are just about at the exact halfway point. Math and reading are kind of the two places where I really focus on and kind of gauge where we're at based on where we are in those two subjects. So, and I think those are the only two subjects that have a grade level attached for our homeschool. So math and reading are the only two that we start at the beginning of the year and finish at the end of the year kind of a thing. Everything else is very loosely structured. So reading, we are also on track. Both of my older two are both there. My son is actually going to be starting All About Reading, my 5-year-old, this semester. So we're going to be in a weird, he'll probably be finishing that mid next year versus starting at the beginning of the school year, but we are on track for my older two kids. And then science, we switched from Apologia to the Good and the Beautiful this year. We have only done 1 unit, where I was hoping to have 2 or 3 done by Christmas. I'm not a unit study mom, so I've struggled a little bit with pulling the resources together. It's just not my strength, but it's definitely on pace with what my kids' interests and learning styles are. So I'm really, as much as I would like to go back to Apologia, and nothing against the Good and the Beautiful, I love the Good and the Beautiful, I prefer a year-long type of a science, but it's actually been really good for them. So I'm just gonna up the game a little bit and try a little bit harder on my end to get at least 2 units done in the second semester. For handwriting, we're behind. I don't know. We have been using the Good and the Beautiful handwriting, and they absolutely love it. I have no idea, to be honest, because it's such an independent thing for them, how we've fallen behind, but we are about 1/3 of the way through, and we should be halfway through at this point. And then geography, I'm gonna do a video next week. I promised this for a long time. You're gonna see it next week, how I teach geography. So, and you'll see then that there's really no ending point for that either. But I can just tell based on where I thought we would be by this point. We're doing US geography this year. We're not quite there. We're definitely not halfway, but we're more than 1/3 of the way. So we're trending. Hopefully we will finish by, say, June. I'm thinking we're gonna take July off and go back in August, or we might take June off and go back in July. It just depends kind of on where we're at. The ups of this homeschool year. I have my notes right here, so let me check this out real quick. I wrote this all out yesterday as I was brainstorming. Yes, the ups as far, yeah, year-round homeschooling, like I said, has definitely taken the guilt off. The flexibility has been surprisingly good for them and for me. I don't even know that they have noticed much of a difference in the number of days we do and don't do school. I think it's actually still pretty consistent with how we've done it, but I think that what they've noticed and what I've noticed is just that my whole attitude surrounding school has been much better. Although I did kind of have a little bit of a meltdown today about school, which doesn't happen very often anymore, but you guys know, sometimes there's other factors involved besides just curriculum, say, like hormones. So yes, the flexibility has been really good, and it's definitely taken the edge off of the pressure that I tend to put on myself. Another up has been doing teaching textbooks for both of my older 2 kids. So my daughter has done teaching textbooks for a couple of years now. I loved it for her. I wasn't sure how my son would do with it. He started this year and he's flying through it. He's doing amazing. He asks to do 2 math most often, and I'm kind of holding him back because I feel like he's just getting to the point where it could get frustrating for him. He's kind of, it's all been comfortable for him, but we're just about to get to the point where we're gonna have a lot of stuff to work through that's new concepts for him. So I'm trying to just stick with 1 per day because with his personality, I don't want him to think, well, I used to be able to do 2 a day and now I can only do 1, and you know, to think that that's something wrong with him versus he's just approaching multiplication and he's never done multiplication before, kind of a thing. And then I'm a little undecided on the good and the beautiful science, like I said, just because unit studies are not my strength. But the good and the beautiful handwriting has been a huge victory this year, just because that has been a place where I have just really had no idea how to teach, because my kids' emotions have always been very heightened when it comes down to handwriting. They both are perfectionists. I don't know where they get it from when it comes down to things like that. And the good and the beautiful has been so good for their handwriting, just because they're both very artistically minded as well, and they're able to stop handwriting and switch gears and do the coloring pages and the drawing, and they both absolutely love that part of it. So that's been really good. We have not had 1 single fight with handwriting this year, so it's been amazing. Switching gears to what has not worked for us this school year, I tried the loop schedule. It threw us off so bad for like the first 2 months of the school year. And we started super early because I wanted to be 18 weeks in by December, so we started in July, but I almost felt like we were on pace for, by the time like I got the loop schedule out of my head and kind of restarted, I almost felt like we were on pace for if we had started with the regular academic school year in mid-August, because man, like that just it wasn't for my kids and it wasn't for me either. And I thought initially that the loop schedule would be, again, would give us that flexibility where we needed it, but it actually just like was weird to not be, you know, we're out of the house 2 or 3 nights a week with all of the activities that we have. And so it's better for us to have like, say, consistent days to do science, because these are the 2 days a week that we have nothing going on in the afternoons, that kind of a thing. So we really needed the structure of the schedule. So the other thing that's really just like not working out for me right now, which, you know, I really can't control, is that my baby's nap schedule is like just not at the right time. So I used to be able to put her down for a nap around the same time my kids were doing their independent reading time, and it was just a very peaceful atmosphere and much needed breath in the middle of a homeschool day. That is kaput right now, and I'm not really sure going into this next semester how to work around that, because it's a baby, you know, and babies don't always work on schedule. So whatever, I can't control that. It's just a season. This is one of those seasons of homeschooling. I'm not unfamiliar with it. I have had another, you know, couple little ones while I'm trying to homeschool an older one. So, and then, okay, so now I'm gonna talk about my biggest victory and my biggest mistake this homeschool year. And I think I have a very defined, I'm able to see very clearly what those are. So my biggest victory is more of a personal victory that has really breathed life into our homeschool, and that is that I have learned to say no to the things that just don't work for our schedule, for our family, and I'm like a people pleaser, definitely that personality. So that was a huge victory, and what I'm seeing the reward from that, which I feel like is such a blessing. Like God knows that I needed to see a quick reward from that, otherwise I would not be able to sustain saying no, you know, to people. But the biggest victory or the biggest blessing from that has been that now I'm able to say yes to things that we have done in the past, and that I just thought we didn't have time for or room for. So things like 5 in a row we're able to do, and things like a Bible study that I used to love but I couldn't fit into our schedule anymore. Those opportunities have come back around, and that is a big payoff because I'm able to fit those things in without it being taxing on our schedule. So that's been helpful, seeing the benefit of those things to our family that I wouldn't have seen if I wouldn't have said no. You know, they always say if you say no to, or if you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. So I'm kind of seeing that in reverse. Saying no to certain things have allowed me and given me the space to say yes to other things, which has been a huge blessing. And then my biggest mistake, which I think is a very common mistake that we all make, and I'm like, I beat myself up every year, like, Abby, why do you do this every single year when you know that this is not gonna work? But my biggest mistake is always falling into the trap of trying to follow the homeschooling trends and trying to change things. And everybody's talking about how great this is, so let's try it. And everybody's talking about how great this is, so I must be doing something wrong. And so I wanted the loop schedule to work because everybody talked about how great it was. And I didn't hear a lot of people saying that it didn't work for them. And so I thought, oh, it must be me. I have got to just be confident in what works and not seeking out what doesn't, because we really had no issue with our schedule before. I don't know why I tried to change it so dramatically, but when I took some time to focus and find our rhythm again, we fell right back into the pattern of what we had been doing leading up to the beginning of this school year, and I could just punch myself right in the face for not realizing that if what we worked, what is it? If it's not broke, don't fix it. Yeah, that's what I need to do. But it's also a victory because I was able to kind of realign our year with and recognize that that wasn't working. So why keep going? And then the other thing I wanted to talk about is what I'm looking to strengthen in a little bit. And does that make sense? My kids are playing with Legos like one room away, and I can hear the sound of the Legos, and it's really like, I've had too much caffeine today. So the areas that I would like to work a little harder on or just strengthen up because my kids enjoy them. So I actually have 4 things that I kind of feel like I'm letting slide, but are very important to my kids, things they're enjoying. The first is art. They love yellow spot sun, and I love yellow spot sun, but it's one of those things where, you know, as a mom, you just naturally feel more inclined to push reading than art. And art is still very much an important part of a well-rounded education and experience for kids. And so honestly, the fact that they love it so much, I don't know why I've let that fall through the cracks a little bit last semester. So we are doing Yellow Spot Sun, Architects of the Ancient World. It's so user-friendly, like the lessons are on video. I just have to get the materials for them. They can actually get the materials for themselves. So I'm gonna try to bring it back in our schedule 2 days a week instead of 1 day a week this school year. I think that way they're at least getting it once a week. Does that make sense? So I'm gonna definitely be pulling art in as more of a focus this next semester. The other thing is hymns. John actually said to me just like 2 or 3 days ago, he was playing the guitar with the kids and he was like, what hymn have they done this last semester? And I was like, I really don't think we've completed one. We haven't seen one all the way through. So we've started a couple, but for various reasons we stopped, and then I thought, well, we're so behind, we'll just start a fresh one, and then we never finished either of them. So I would like to bring that back into our morning basket time. What I need to do, and I think the reason that it's not been going so well this last semester, is that I created hymn books. I just printed and bound the songs a couple of years ago, and I think it's just time to spruce those up because we've kind of gone through all of them, or I've seen them for a couple of years. So I'm just gonna add in a couple more and kind of perk that up a little bit. Habit training is our focus this homeschool year, and so the doing the folders and the independent work has been great, and there are various habits throughout our home that we're working on, but the actual Charlotte Mason habit, laying down the rails, we haven't hit that as much as I would have liked to, but habit training as a whole is going very well. And then the last thing is Florida's hot. I mean, you guys know that. And one thing that I've always tried to do in our homeschool is spend at least an hour outside every day, whether it's 2 30-minute increments or just an hour. So what I've done for our homeschool is we've spent at least 1 hour outside between our morning basket and our independent work. In the driveway just playing. Well, with the baby's nap schedule and things, I've kind of taken that hour, and when she's napping, I've used that to work independently with them. But I've noticed that we kind of need that low note a little bit now in our morning. So I'm gonna try to go back to spending that 1 hour in the morning outside versus just after school or before school time. And then the last thing I want to talk about is our progress and kind of the where we're at outside of academics and the things that really matter to me and some of the main reasons we homeschool, which have to do with our relationship with our kids. So the first thing is I am very happy with the way that the folder system is going as far as creating responsibility in my older kids, putting the worksheets in there, setting them out on the table the night before, and as they wake up and before and even during some school breaks, they're working on those things, and that has given them such a sense of confidence. And it's also been a huge help to me to not spend time just giving them busy work, but instead teaching them to become responsible and using their time wisely and getting that done and getting that out of the way. And then the other thing is this has been a good season of building trust and relationship with my now 5-year-old, kind of bringing him into the fold of learning this year. Preschool is an important year for teaching them to want to learn, and that's been really good. It's been a good opportunity for my relationship with him, and it's also been a good opportunity for his relationship with the art of learning and wanting to be educated and wanting to be a part of this lifelong learning journey. And then the last thing is we have found the time to not just entertain the toddler, but bring her in and slow down and play with her this year. And so that's been very important, and something that really was eating away at me last school year was just that I was trying to keep her entertained. And my heart just really wanted to have some sit down time with her. She loves books, so it's really great. We're able to read to her a lot during school. My older two are able to read with her a lot. My son thinks he's reading to her. It's really sweet. My 5-year-old, she is always at the table with us. She loves sensory play. She's always in the room with us. So it's been a good year to involve her and not just entertain her. So that is where we're at. That was, again, as always, so much longer than I meant for it to be. I'm sorry. Make sure you check out Julie's video. I will put a link up here for you to check that out. And let me know in the comments below where you guys are at halfway through the school year. Are you like me, kind of always a little behind, or are you guys right on pace for where you want to be? And also, what is your biggest victory this homeschooling year? If you like homeschooling videos, give it a thumbs up, and I will see you guys soon. Bye.